Hello everyone, this is day 12 of the Identity Fundamental series. We discussed about role-based access control. Today we'll be talking about attribute-based access control. So attribute-based access control is a dynamic and a flexible way of or access control model that grants access based on attributes. Okay, so there are attributes associated with the users, resources, environments, and we'll see what all factors we can use there. It explores the key concepts, benefits, components, and implementation considerations of ABAC, highlighting its advantages over traditional access control models like RBAC and ACL, access control list. So ABAC is an authorization model that evaluates access requests based on attributes. Unlike role-based, which relies on roles and users, ABAC is basically more granular approach. So if this is your RBAC, which has users and roles and permissions, ABAC is further granularity under permissions, right? More level. Some of the key concepts in ABAC that we should understand are attribute. This is the fundamental block. All the values, first name, last name, username, right? First name, last name, email. These are attributes. Okay. Subject attributes. This describes the user or entity requesting the access. For example, user ID, okay, and department. These are the subject attribute. Object attribute. This describes the source being accessed. Example include file type, creation date, sensitivity level. Environment, the device, network location, current threat level, all the external factor, the risk levels. Eventually, you use all of this to create a policy. It's a set of rules that define how access decisions can be made based on what, right? And then we have a rule where you're writing the condition. If a new hire joins X department, they get X level of access based on X level of attribute. This is where you're writing the rule. Eventually use the PEP, policy enforcement point, is the component that intercepts access requests and enforces the control policy. It retrieves the necessary attributes and send them to the PDP for evaluation. Okay. So PDP is policy decision point. The PDP is the component that evaluates the access request against the defined policy and returns a decision. So first a request came, evaluation is happening by the decision point, and then it'll say deny or uh, approve or deny. It receives the attribute from the PEP and uses them to determine whether the access request should be granted or not. Policy information point is the component that retrieves the values from various sources. It acts as a bridge between your PEP and the decision. Okay, so this is PIP, not the one that employees are put into. So benefits of ABAC, it offers several advantages over traditional access control. Granular control, as I said, on the role based, you have certain set of fixed components. Here you go more granular. Okay. Dynamic authorization, flexibility, centralized policy management. ABAC policies can be dynamically adjusted based on changing conditions such as day, time, location. ABAC can be adapted to the wide range of use cases and environments, and there is a centralized policy management. ABAC allows central, again, ABAC, RBAC, both you're trying to do it in a centralized manner. Okay. The only thing is on the role based on roles, here because it is attributes, it is flexible. Okay, it's flexible, a lot flexible than the traditional ways. It also reduces role proliferation, right? So ABAC can reduce the need of a large number of roles, simplifying role management and reducing the risk of roles. Or else you'll end up creating one role, tag permissions, tag permission, multiple roles based on departments. But here, just do some combinations using PDP, PIP, and PEP, and then you'll be good to go. Improved auditability and context-aware access. Okay, ABAC enables context-aware access control, allowing access decision to be based on the current environment and situation. Right? It can be just in time also. Let's talk about the components. Okay. So first component is PAP, policy administration point, decision point, enforcement point, information point, and attribute sources. These are the five. So first, the PAP is responsible for creation. So this is creating and managing the access control policy. Okay, so the policy is created by PAP. PDP is evaluation. There is an evaluation happening. PEP, enforcement, right? It accepts the request and enforces the policy. And then we have the PIP. It retrieves the information attribute from various sources such as database, directories, okay, and then acts as a bridge between your PDP and PEP and the attribute repositories. Okay. And attribute sources are the source of attributes, such as this is, if this is an AD, this could be one source of attribute, because then you'll have different sources here: first name, last name, email, all of this. So AD is storing these values, hence it becomes the source of the attribute. Implementing ABAC involves several steps. First is identification of resource and attributes. Determine the resource that needs to be protected and the attributes that are relevant to access control decisions. Define the policies. Choose an ABAC engine that meets your requirement. Integrate with the existing system. So let's say you have AD. You have chosen an engine. You need to integrate it with AD, right? So that integration. And then start configuring and test and deploy. Definitely put some sort of monitoring in place also, and logging. Okay, so that are the things that you can do as a part of implementing the entire ABAC model. And then, yeah, monitoring and maintenance was already there. So while RBAC is widely used, but ABAC offers several advantages. Okay, first, on the RBAC, you have, from a granularity perspective, it is coarse grained, and ABAC is fine grained. Like you can go to any level, flexibility is high. Dynamism, static and dynamic. Complexity, simple, more complex. Yes, but then once you have solved the complex problem, your life becomes easy, because then you'll be able to scale up more. The context awareness is high, the granularity is high, and dynamism is high. Yes, it is definitely complex compared to RBAC. Because in RBAC, we have been using it traditionally, roles, permissions, and you have users tagging them into a specific role which has permissions. So that, and then you have policy enforcements. Okay, but on this one, ABAC, there are a lot of components you need to set up, but after that, your life becomes easy and you can scale really well. So use cases, primarily you have data security, application security, cloud security. You can name. I mean, you can use this in anywhere: healthcare, finance, any system you can use, because everywhere, in every system, you are trying to manage access some way, shape, or form. Everywhere, right? Because the moment you create onboard an application, let's say you onboard an application, application have different set of access. Who will use those applications? Users. How will you connect these two systems? By all these modules only, access control modules. Okay, so everywhere, wherever there is data and users want to use the data, you have to use this ABAC, RBAC, or any other modules. Here is a quick way of the entire ABAC use case. First is on data security, application security, cloud security for managing access to cloud resources, API security for managing and securing your APIs, protecting patient data, PHI data, on the healthcare world, on the finance controlling access to the financial data by giving group-based, role-based, attribute-based access. So talking about an example, one of the example in organization is only employees in finance department from this network can access the payroll system. Initially it was in RBAC, how was it? Finance, admin, user give them the finance role. But here also from which network, what network, right? Which device, which location. Now you're using various attributes of a user to give them access. Yes, it is complex, but needs strong attribute data quality. Your data has to be very clear. You cannot be seeing that data is changing every time and the user is confused. Okay, so interview tips different between RBAC and ABAC. You need to be very clear which one is more robust, what are the implementation components, how it is implemented. Those are some good examples you can talk during the interview process, and also talk about the challenges. Assignment, create one ABAC rule that only, let's say, one example here is only users from HR department located in India can access HR portal after 9 a.m. Here we have department, user, location, application, time. So multiple attribute compared to HR, admin, done. User, this is RBAC, but this is ABAC. Okay, so ABAC definitely is one of the powerful way of scaling up your entire access control module, provided you have the right understanding of different attributes, policies, how the combination will work, and accordingly you can mix and match and create n number of policies without having to depend on the traditional group mechanism. So with that, we wrap up day 12 of attribute based access control. I'll see you in day 13. Thank you.